today we're going to be studying these 4 different sections for the quiz that it is on Monday. So it's over 9.7, 9.8, 11.1, and 11.3. The first question, how many of you guys think you already have this correct answer when you tried it on your own? All right, let's see what it says. A store is selling sweaters at 15% off their original price. What is the sale price of a sweater originally priced at $18? Kyla, what did you do to try to find this answer?
I put $18, parentheses about around 0.15 equals $2.07.
All right, so she multiplied $18 times 15%, but she remembered she's got to change that percent to a decimal. When you did that, what did you get? $2.70. Okay, $2.70. Does that mean that that's the new price that we get to pay? No, that means it's $2.70 off of the original price. So let's just think it through. If something's on sale, is it going to be more expensive or less expensive? Less expensive because it's on sale. All right, so Kyla, what'd you do next? All right, who went a step further and thinks they might know how to do the rest? Alex.
You have to put the original price of $18.
Okay, take the original price.
18.00. Minus 2.70.
Not minus 2.70, but $2.70.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you do that, what is the sale price?
It was
That is correct. $15.30 is now the sale price of that sweater. Okay. Was there anybody who actually got that on their own? All right, a couple people. Good job. For number 2, we're trying to find the new price. There was a wholesale price of $22 and a markup of 13%. Who can help me with this kind of a problem? Isabel, go ahead. What should I do?
You have to change the decimal. You have to change the percent to a decimal, which would be 0.13.
Okay, change this percentage to a decimal, which would be 0.13. And then what?
Multiply it times 22.
Okay, multiply it times our wholesale price of $22.
And that answer is 2.86.
2.86.
And then you would have to add.
What is that 2.86?
$2.86.
$2.86. And then what do I need to do with that?
Add that to 22.
All right, so we're going to take our wholesale price and then add the markup because they marked it up by $2.86. And then what would the new price be? $24.86. Now, if something's a markup, does it make sense that the price would go up?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Okay, so just think about that. Whenever you're coming to your quiz, your test for next week, think about whether markups or discounts or sale prices goes up or down, and that should help you find the answer. This is a formula that you're going to want to have memorized. What is the simple interest formula, guys? I equals PRT. Do you remember what the I stands for? Interest. P. Principal. R. Rate, which will always be a percentage. And T. Time, which will always be in what? In years. Very good job. So going on to that, what is a principal? All right, that is the amount of money deposited or borrowed. Okay, so that's a definition you're going to want to memorize. Number 5 is asking us to find the unknown quantity. What is the simple interest formula that I need to use for this?
I equals P times R times T.
I equals PRT. So now we're just going to simply plug in some things that we know. What is my I? $980. JD, what's my principal? $2,000. Jakari, what's my rate? We don't have one yet, so we're going to keep it as an R. And what's my time, Alex?
5 years.
5 years. Remember, it always has to come in years. Okay, so Landon, is there any work that I can do on this side of the equal sign?
Yes.
Yes, what can I do? What is 2,000 times 5? 10,000. And what do I have to bring down on the right side? The R, okay? We still got to bring that thing down with us. And there is nothing to do yet on this side. Now, Landon, if our whole goal is to get the variable by itself, what is not allowing the variable to be alone on the right side? The R is my variable, so what's not allowing it to be alone? $10,000. How do I get rid of that $10,000? You got to divide by $10,000 on both sides. So I want you guys to stick that in your calculator. Okay, so we know this 10,000 over 10,000 cancels out. I'm left with R equals what, guys? 0.098. Now, the rate has to come out as a what? A percent. How do I turn that to a percent? Go to the right 2 times, and your answer is 9.8%. All right, this next problem says Sarah has $400 in her savings account and she earns 1.55% simple annual interest. How many years will it take her to earn $12.40 in interest? I want you guys to try it on your own. Just let's go ahead and break down the things that we do know. We know it's going to be I equals P, R, and T. Interest. Do we know what our interest is? Yes, what is it? What is it? $12.40. Good job. Do we know our principal?
Yes.
What is it?
$400.
$400. Do I know the rate?
Yes.
What is it?
1.55.
1.55%. And do I know my time?
No.
All right, that's the question mark. So now all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start plugging those in. I equals PRT.
It is?
All right, what do I need to do to my R?
You need to change it into a...
You have to change the percent to a decimal, okay? So when I'm looking at my decimal that I have right there, what do I have to do with that decimal point? Move it over 2 places to the 1, 2. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply it times 0.0155, okay? How many of you did that? Okay, that's where people mess up the most. They forget to do that, all right? And then we don't know our time yet, so we're going to do it right there, okay? Help me out right here. What is 400 times 0.0155? Not $6.20, just 6.2 times T equals $12.40. Your whole goal is to get T by itself. How do I do that? Divide by 6.2. This cancels out. And what do you get? 2 years is correct. So then let's just go back and double check the answer. It says, how many years will it take to earn $12.40 in interest? It will take us 2 years. Okay? How many of you found that on your own? Excellent. Number 7 is one of those things you just got to memorize. What is the Pythagorean theorem, guys?
B squared times A squared equals C squared.
No, A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Oh, plus.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, everyone say Pythagorean
Pythagorean
theorem.
theorem.
Everyone say it together. Pythagorean theorem. All right, and tell me one more time, what is it? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Just as a reminder, you can only use the Pythagorean theorem whenever there is a what kind of angle?
A shape.
A right angle.
A right angle. Remember, this right here is the symbol for a right angle. Then there is one specific way to always be able to tell what the hypotenuse is or what the C is.
Square.
That square. What about the square?
That tells you if it's a right angle or not.
No. How can I figure out if it's a C?
You have to find the opposite of the right angle.
You have to find the opposite of the right angle, and that one will always be your C. And then if you remember, we said the legs, or the A and the B, will always be attached to that little right angle, okay? So starting off with our formula, because it's got a right angle, we can use the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Once again, the part where people have the biggest mistakes is figuring out or identifying whether it's a, b, or c. So which one is my unknown?
B.
B. So I'm just going to keep b squared just like that. Now, let's find the c. That is the one that's opposite of the right angle. Which one is that?
15.
Good job. Okay, so it's right there. 15 feet, that is going to be our c squared. So we'll put 15 squared, which means a squared has to be what? 10 squared. All right, Carlos, start on the left side. Is there any kind of work that we know? 10 squared, what is that?
100.
Good job. So I'll bring down my plus, and I'll bring down my b squared, my equal sign. What about 15 squared? Jakari, what is that? Very good, 225. Now remember, my whole goal is to get b on the side all by itself, but there are some things not allowing it to be by itself. What's not allowing it to be alone?
B squared.
The square and the 100, okay? So here's this and here's that. Which one should I get rid of first?
B squared.
All right, I heard some people saying b squared and some people saying 100. If you remember, I said something about these guys right here. What did I say?
They're best friends.
They're best friends. You let them stay together as long as possible. So, Michael, what should we get rid of first? Minus 100. And what I do to one side, I've got to be fair and do it to the other side. This cancels out. What comes down on the left side?
125. B squared equals 125.
B squared equals 125. Am I finished?
No.
What is still not allowing b to be alone?
The square.
The square. What's the opposite of a square?
Square root.
The square root. Remember, when you have a square root and a square, they cancel out, and on the left side, I'm left with
B.
just plain old b. And now you need to find out what the square root of 125 is.
11.2.
B.
Okay, so here's what it says. When you put it in your calculator, it comes out like this, but I don't want it with this square root in it, so hit the S to D button. And what does it come out as when you do that?
1.2810000.
Say again, what does it say?
11.180339889.
Okay, so it kind of goes on and on forever. Remember, we're always just going to round it to the nearest tenth, so what would that be?
11.2
feet.
Okay, 11.2 feet. Remember, we've talked about before, if you are the one who identifies or brings in the radical to the problem, you normally would have to make two answers, so it would be plus and minus, but you cannot have negative feet. So for this one, it is just going to be 11.2 feet. All right, guys, what is the answer?
6.8.
Very good. All you have to do is simply put this into your calculator. 6.8, but it did say to find two of them, so what should it be? Positive and negative 6.8. Good job. Next one, number 10. Evaluate the expression when z equals 5 and m equals 2. Remember, this just means you got to plug things in instead of a variable. Kyla, help me out.
So, carry the little check mark thing down. And
The radical sign.
yes. And then put 3 parentheses 5 plus 1.
All right, so all she did right there, you can see, instead of having a z, now she just plugged in z equals 5. Very good job. Remember, keep bringing that negative sign down with you because that'll bring you out a different answer, okay? All right, keep going. Is there anything I can do underneath the radical sign?
Yeah, you gotta do 3 times 5,
Which is?
which is 15 plus 1,
Okay, and what is 15 plus 1?
16.
Good job. Okay, so once again, bring this radical sign down with you for your answer, and then the answer is what?
Negative 16.
Not negative 16. What is the square root of 16? 4. Good job. So the answer is negative 4.
I got negative 4.
Number 11, solve the equation and round to the nearest tenth. Remember, these guys are best friends because the square is attached to the x, okay? So, Landon, what should I get rid of first?
Negative 5.
Okay, how do I get rid of minus 5?
Subtract it on both sides.
Okay, he says subtract it on both sides. Agree or disagree? Disagree. You have to do the opposite, because here's what would happen. If I did that, I would get negative 10. My goal is to get rid of it. So, Landon, what should I do instead? Add 5 to both sides. Okay, so this would cancel out. I'm left with x squared equals, what's 25 plus 5? 30. Jakari, how do I get rid of that square?
Square root.
You got to square root both sides. If you remember, the square root and the square cancels out. You're left just with the x. What is the square root of 30? 5.5. Okay, this is what tons of people said their correct answer is. What's wrong with that? Remember, we are the ones who introduced the radical to the problem right there. So we have to come out with 2 answers, positive and negative 5.5.
And I thought 30. I did a square.
Guys, please make sure over the weekend you are reviewing this. You can go back and rewatch the video, but please study these 4 sections for your quiz on Monday.